lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Laugh to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slide, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, it's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Hey, welcome to the show. Excuse me. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat Radio right here on UCY.TV, September 4, 2016. Now, I would just send, I just got home. It's my mom's birthday, so we took off out to my sister's place for breakfast brunch this morning, and I still haven't seen my uncle. He was supposed to be out there, but I guess they didn't find the place yet. So I got one more shot at him, and that's tonight at supper. We're going to do this one more time, so I'm sure he's going to show up there. He's 94 now, and I want to see him. He's from Quebec, and I want to see the man. So we'll do the show and then track his ass down. Anyways, I'm going to start here. This is where I was going to start last night on the show, but I didn't get there. I'm going to start there today, and then I was sent something extremely interesting. I think I haven't had a chance to read it. I just got it up on the screen. So I'm going to start here with the boardroom scene from the Movie Network. Now, I know a lot of listeners have already seen this thing, but it's a really important thing. And one of the reasons it's so important is most of the people didn't get that movie that saw the movie. What they saw was people whining, bitching, and complaining, hanging out windows, going, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. And I remember back at that time, you would see people, on the streets and that, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. But that's not the point. That's what they want you to do. They want you to protest. They want you to whine. They want you to bitch. They want you to complain, but they don't want you to understand. So, anyways, I'm just going to run through this because this is the scene in the movie that mattered. This is the game of the Rothschild, Rockefellers, the boys that run the World Bank, and the CFR, and all the rest of this nonsense. I mean, the UN is on the soil of America, which it should never have been allowed on that soil. It should be removed. Everyone in that building should be vacated out of it. And as far as I'm concerned, even though I'm totally against wars because they're all banker wars, I get all that stuff, but still a lot of very young men and women went to wars, got busted up real bad, those that got home. And most of those were conned into believing they were actually fighting for freedom, which in fact they're fighting for slavery. And that's unfortunate. They didn't get that. If they got it, they would have never went to war. So when they did go to war, they went to war for the most part because they believed what they were being told. As far as I'm concerned, that UN building, which is huge, and with veterans all over the place, living under bridges and on streets and not getting proper care in that, because they used these people, and then when they were done with them, they just threw them aside like they always do, because those who run the world are a bunch of amoral psychopaths. They don't give a damn about anybody. And as far as I'm concerned, that UN building needs to be completely vacated and be opened to the vets and the homeless, and put that building to a moral use for once, and that would make me very, very happy. Anyways, I'm going to run through this because it's important. This is Jensen. This is the head of the board speaking. You are an old man. He's talking to Mr. Beale, the newsman who is trying to wake people up. You're an old man who thinks in terms of nations and peoples. There are no nations. And what is the goal of the United Nations and everything attached to the United Nations? The end of nation states. That's the goal. There are no peoples, there are no Russians, there are no Arabs, there are no third worlds, there is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems, one vast and inane, interwoven, interacting multinational dominion of dollars, petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichsmarks, rubles, rin, pounds, and shekels. It's a corporate system. It's an amoral system because corporation is dead fictional person, which cannot possibly have a moral compass. It's an amoral system. And none of these people give a sweet bajumpins about you, your family, or anybody else. And this has to come to an end somehow. So he goes on. It is the international system of currency that determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today. That is the atomic, subatomic, and galactic structure of things today. So what you have here is you have a small handful of men and women who have decided that they wish to be the gods. They wish to play the gods, act as the gods, but they're amoral gods. They don't give a damn about you. They're the great deceivers. There is no America, which is true because you have the United States, which is a corporation. There is no democracy. There never was any democracy. There's demonocracy, and these are definitely demons. There is only IBM, IT&T, AT&T, and DuPont, Dow, Union Carbide, and Exxon. Well, if you remember, it was Exxon Valdez that crashed upon the rocks up in Alaska with a big oil spill, and who is heavily involved in that? Rockefeller. And what are they trying to do? They're pushing the environmental agenda. So if you're going to push something, you better have an environmental problem. So they crashed the boat. Nobody can tell me that wasn't done on purpose. Huge oil spill. Now we can go environmental. Now we need green because oil's bad and yada, yada, yada. These are the very people that made their fortunes in oil. But to them, it's just another mechanism. And now what made them rich, they're using as a mechanism to start pushing the environmental movement because it becomes a global problem. An oil spill isn't a global problem. The environment, on the other hand, is a global problem. And we need global problems that can only be solved at the global level in order that we get global government, i.e., end of nation states. And every single government that still exists is involved in this. Those who bucked it are dead. And probably the best example of that is Gaddafi. He wasn't going to play their dollar game, and he wasn't going to play their world government game. And so therefore he has to be taken out, which goes back again to the 1950 Senate hearings with Warburg stating we will have world government by consent or by conquest. What they're doing here in the West is asking you to consent. They need you to consent because they can't figure out how to bomb the shit out of you. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't fly. It wouldn't be plausible. And therefore they need you to consent. And this is what's going on in the schools, the universities, and everything else, is the mind-bending nonsense that people are being told in order to get them to consent. Anyways, there is no America. There is no democracy. What do you think the Russians talk about in their councils of state? Karl Marx? They pull out their programming charts, statistical decision theories, and minimax solutions and compute the price, cost, probabilities of their transactions and investments just like we do. We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations determined by the immutable bylaws of business. The world is a business, Mr. Beale, and he's absolutely correct. That's Ned Beatty playing the part, and he's absolutely correct. Okay, the legal system is nothing more than bylaws of the corporations. Your country's a corporation, and everything they pass through the legislature is a bylaw of the corporation. Color of law, not law. Okay, it's corporate immoral, not immoral, but amoral laws. Okay, to benefit the business, the corporation, and not the people. In other words, you've been put into a slave state, and you slave for the state, which is a corporation. No different than the old plantation model. And people got to come to terms with this. They really definitely have to come. I mean, this movie is, what, 1976 or something? This is not a nation state. America is not a nation state. Europeans are having a hard time understanding this simple fact. This country is united neither by heritage, nor by memory, nor soil, nor by language. There are no Native Americans, except, of course, the Indians. Everyone else is citizens, and those citizens are united by one thing only, which is a lot, and that one becomes a citizen of the United States by accepting its Constitution, which are the bylaws and regulations of the corporation. This is something that was written. That part there is not from the movie itself. These are just somebody has written some stuff in here, interjecting in between his writing the text of this particular scene in the movie. Anyways, back to the movie. Jensen said it has been basically a business, corporate, since man crawled out of the slime. And our children, Mr. Beale, will live to see that perfect world in which there is no war and famine, opposition and brutality, one vast and ecumenical holding company for whom all men will work to serve a common profit, in which all men will hold a share of stock, all necessities provided, all anxieties tranquilized, all boredom amused. This is so on the button, it's nuts. Okay? Very few people that ever saw that movie understood anything about that boardroom scene. And that's too bad. They were running around going, we're mad as hell, we ain't going to take it anymore. Well, of course you're going to take it because these guys just told you you're going to take it. And Mr. Beale ended up going back and saying, I guess, the individual's dead. Individuals. It's all about this common profit, this common holding company. What is this common holding company they're talking about? Well, it's a massive not-for-profit organization, tax exempt foundation is what it is. And the United Nations is tax exempt. And who set up the United States or the United Nations but a whole bunch of the Carnegies, the Rockefellers? These are the guys that set up the tax-exempt foundations. And Rockefeller also said that something has to take place of government, and business seems to be the obvious entity. And these businessmen, through the environmental movement, are going to build a big or tax-exempt foundation. And a tax-exempt foundation works like this. We put a amount into a fund. And that fund never diminishes. If you put 10 million or 10 billion in it, that 10 billion goes in there day one, and it stays there for all time. It's not touchable. The only thing that's touchable is the interest that comes out of it, and these tax-exempt foundations, including the United Nations, use that money in order to grease the palms of university professors and students and other dickweeds to write the stuff they want written in order to propagandize and get you to believe what they're doing is correct. The end game of this is that all natural resources and all you've been used now as surety for the debt, for the so-called government debt. You're responsible for the debt. The government's not responsible for the debt. You're responsible for the debt. They create the debt and you become responsible for it. Now, there's no country on the planet that can possibly pay off its debt at this time. That was part of the plan. Now, you still hear politicians going, well, we need to deal with this debt. You can't deal with the debt. The debt's not dealable. The debt was made there for a reason, and that was to bankrupt the nations. So now they used you as surety for all these years, and now the debt's too high that doesn't matter if you gave them every dime you ever earned, you still couldn't put a dent in that debt because that debt is attached to compound interest. You can't catch up to that ever. So what are they doing? What are we going to use for collateral now? The idea is that we build a huge tax-exempt trust foundation, and it will be administered by the guys that bankrupted you. Well, there's a good deal. But because it's environment, what they're going to put in this particular pot is not cash. What they're going to put in this pot is all the resources on the planet, of which are all going to be monetized and put in the pot. And they will administer that pot. Now, everything that goes in the pot can't come out of the pot. That's how a tax-exempt foundation works. Only the interest is spendable. So they're going to put all the resources in the pot. They're going to decide how much is being renewed, i.e. trees growing, water and whatnot. And then they will, that's your share. You get a share not of the resources. You get a share of the interest of the resources because we cannot deplete this because we must leave for future generations. And then from that pot, they tell you that you will be given, everyone has the right to adequate water, food, housing, education, and it goes on and on and on. But they administer it. Now, they keep saying the world's overpopulated, which it's not. Not even close. But how are they going to convince you to drop the population? Well, simple. The lower the population, the bigger your piece of the pie. Okay? And they're going to propagandize the hell out of that, and so on and so forth. So this is where we're at. This was made in 76. They told you straight out what they were up to, told you straight out what their goals were. One vast and ecumenical holding company for whom all men will work to serve a common profit, in which all men will hold a share of stock. That's your adequate. Problem is, the administrators decide what adequate is, not you. All necessities will be provided. That's your adequate: housing, clothing, schools. But again, the United Nations says that adequate housing cannot be more than 350 square feet. Now, they're already building condos all over this country. Canada is wide open. Canada is the second largest landmass base in the world, and we have a smaller population than the state of California. So we have no shortage of resources here, but we, not us, but they will decide on our necessities. They will decide what we live in. They will decide how much water we consume, how much electricity we consume, what we drive or don't drive, and so on and so forth. And all anxieties, there's a lot of anxiety out there, and we know there's a lot of tranquilized people out there, and that's your friendly neighborhood doctor writing you the prescription, of which these guys are making a fortune off of, and all boredom amused. Okay? So there's lots of ways for you to have your boredom amused. No one in this world should be bored if they were paying attention to what's actually going on. The last thing they could ever be was bored. It freaks me out when I ask somebody, I don't know, I'm bored. How the hell can you be bored? If you're living, you can't be bored. But they've, put you in a position where you don't think anymore. A non-thinking man or woman is obviously going to get bored. I ask somebody, what are you thinking about? Oh, nothing. How the hell can you think about nothing? Okay, so they pretty much got you. Maybe you're tranquilized. I don't know. But this is where we're at. These guys are in the final stages of the final takedown of our nations. And they want no nations. They want a vast ecumenical holding company. Now you have a choice here. You see, it says here at the very beginning, it has been since man crawled out of the slime. Okay? And eventually, somehow, some miraculous way, transformed from a slime to a ape to a man. Okay, that puts you in the position of being an animal. You got two choices in this, and I really don't care which choice you take, but I think in the end you're going to wish you'd taken this choice. You have the choice of believing the evolution, of which there's no evidence for whatsoever, and the choice of creation. And they said, well, there's no evidence of creation. Well, I don't know. I look out the window, I see a multitude of different kinds of trees and birds and squirrels and everything else. And I find it difficult to believe that all of these trees and all of these, I got 4 different kinds of squirrels in my yard. I got innumerable kinds of birds in my yard. And I find it difficult that these things all evolve from some single cell thing that somehow got out of the slime, as Jensen refers to it to. This is all evolution did was put men in the position, after deceiving the other men, in the position of playing God. They are not gods. They're psychopaths. They've always been psychopaths. They'll always be psychopaths. There's not much you can do with these guys except maybe take them out back and hang them. But they, not us, have destroyed the world, and it's not destroyed. They poke some holes in it and that. But they're the ones that did the oil spills. They're the ones that did any damage to this planet. You never damaged anything. I have never met a man or woman yet who is not by nature an environmentalist. What kind of idiot would go and take a dump in their own bed? They wouldn't, and they don't. So it's all been propaganda to get you to where they want you to. Let's see. I guess that's the last of that from that movie. Now I don't even know if I want to put this into. I don't know who this is. The Fellis. Yeah, I don't know what exactly. There may be some good stuff in here. There's some Warren Commission stuff. I'll throw this in. I haven't got time to go through all this stuff, but you may find some interesting information in here. But that's the way it is, folks. There is no option for us except to stand up and get rid of these clowns and rebuild our nations. I have people going, I'm a world citizen. You're an idiot. To say you're a world citizen, to say you're a world slave. The plantations have joined forces and basically have one huge administrative body that administrates all the different plantations of which we're all slave to. And we got to break the chains of slavery. We got to get back to law. We got to get back to some moral value and dump this amoral garbage. We've been deceived, and I have this thought process that once you see, you cannot not see, and once you know, you cannot not know, and therefore you can no longer be deceived. And once you're not deceived anymore, then we can go and make some changes. As long as people are wandering around still being deceived, we got a problem, because then they're trying to qualify, this may be wrong, but that may be right. No, you've been lied to since the day you were born. It's that freaking simple. Anyways, I looked at that video again, that little clip of the devil freaking out, Malcolm McDowell in that movie, Suing the Devil. Not the greatest movie in the world, but it has some interesting stuff in that particular scene. And even the devil says, this overpopulation thing's a crock of nonsense, right? 75% of the planet has nobody living on it. And that includes the United States. But you're being told all the time by the professors and that we're overpopulated. Nothing could be further from the truth. So that clip actually has a little bit of... there's some pretty interesting stuff in there. And so you just look up Suing the Devil and look up the devil rant or devil scene or whatever in the courtroom. You'll get that clip. And it's really well worth watching. Regardless of anything you believe or think about, it's still... it provokes some thought, and that's important. Now, I just got this thing sent to me. It was in my Skype when I got home, and this is a good sign. Okay, this is a very good sign. Not sure exactly who these guys are yet. They may be another group that was spawned out of the United Nations. I'm not sure, because the whole thing right now is to create as much chaos as possible. So we're going to read through this and see what we come up with here. It says here, the Soldiers of Odin, European extreme anti-refugee group sets up chapters in Canada. Now this could be good or it might not be good. But why do I not have the story here? Where is the story? All it says here is the Soldiers of Odin, a European group that has been dubbed an extreme anti-refugee group. Oh, here, I got the story over here. By a prominent civil rights organization that's begun setting up shop in Canada, but local leaders say they're not affiliated with white supremacy. Okay, here's the story. This is in the good old Communist Broadcasting Corporation, known as the CBC here. So you got to read this stuff with a pretty close eye. After sparking controversy in Hamilton, Ontario earlier this summer, the group has formed a chapter in Edmonton. Now, Hamilton, Ontario really spooks me a little bit. Because Hamilton, Ontario, even though Agenda 21 wasn't signed until 1992, I have documents showing that Hamilton, Ontario was already implementing Agenda 21 as early as 1987, I believe it was, which was the year Our Common Future came out, the Grote Brundtland report. And that was basically written by Rockefeller and Morris Strong and one other Canadian. Anyway, so we'll have to check that out. About 10 men, all wearing matching insignia on their back, a Norse horned helmet with a Canadian flag for a beard, have been seen patrolling the city streets at least twice, once on July 23rd and the other August the 28th. Now, this Canadian flag they're wearing for a beard, it says. I guess that would be like a face thing. Are these guys not aware that the Canadian flag is actually a corporate logo? I mean, if they're, are they that dense? So that kind of makes me ponder a little bit who's behind this nonsense. As a response to the influx of refugees, the group was founded in late 2015 in Finland by Mika Aranta, a self-proclaimed white supremacist. Since that time, it has become international, with local chapters forming in cities and provinces across Canada this year. Now, we have the word international in there, which again spooks me a little bit. It says the story at the very first paragraph says, but local leaders say they're not affiliated with white power. The third paragraph down, it says that that the founder of this is a self-proclaimed white supremacist. So we have kind of a mixed message going on here. But then, hey, it's the mainstream news. You're not going to get a straight story. According to the social media posts by the group, marches have also taken place in BC and Ontario. Well, don't they know, the people that write this, that Hamilton is in Ontario? I mean, this is bad stuff coming down here. Nothing illegal. The group's bylaws state their goal is to take back the streets, and patrols are their way of doing that. And here we have a picture of Inspector Dan Jones, said police haven't received any complaints about the group. How come is that? Oh, maybe because it's international. You know, this is starting to sound more like a setup than people that give a shit. But we'll find out. Hopefully I'm absolutely wrong on this. I hope these guys are straight up and they're doing what they think they got to do and what everybody ought to back them up on. But you know, we have, you know, we've had the Black Lives Matter, we had the Idle No More, we got the Occupy, all of that stuff come out of the United Nations or groups involved with the United Nations. So is this another one of those, or is this actually a group that gives a damn? Anyways, it goes on. At this stage, we have a group of people that have associated themselves with a group that are internationally extremely negative, as Jones said, in the city of Edmonton context that we have right now. We have seen no violence, no complaints, no threats, and nothing criminal. Jones said the police have spoken to the group. They are reporting that they are not the same type of group, that they are not anti-immigration or radical right. Well, it just says they're anti-immigration, so where are we going with this? The police don't seem too concerned about them, so I'm getting a really bad feeling about these boys. Jones said the group described itself as a guardian angel type group focused on volunteerism. Well, now again, that's right out of the United Nations. They're big on volunteering. If they are the soldiers of Odin like they are in Europe, we are going to be very concerned, Jones said. But at this stage, we don't have any reason to believe they have engaged in criminal activity. According to their bylaws, members see themselves as a non-racist, conservative organization that seeks to help Canadians keep Canadians safe in their daily activities. I thought that's what the police were for. Oh, no, that's what they tell us, but that's not the truth there either. Those same bylaws, however, lament a federal government that accepts refugees from countries that hate us and lets illegal aliens into the country, giving them the ability to vote and drive. Well, that is a huge problem. People think we're some sort of white power group. Joel Agnott, the SOO national president, told CBC News in early August, we're not affiliated with any of that. We have had a few of those members and we've kicked them out. The bylaws state that the group believes in protecting the streets with observe and report style patrols. It is necessary to come to the defense of anyone who may need us. We are the eyes and ears of police in places that the police cannot always be. The group has said it wants to cooperate with local law enforcement. Agnott said the group supports sustainable immigration. There's that sustainable word. This group is starting to really start to smell here, and calls on the government to thoroughly screen new immigrants and ensure newcomers want to come in and follow Canadian law. Well, now it's really stinking because Canadian law is commercial law, which is corporate law, which is amoral, which is legal, color of, similar to, like, but not law, backed up by force. So these people that are running around here are either a very, very ignorant group or they're players. We don't want people coming in and pushing any kind of agenda on Canada, he said. Who is this guy? We don't want any people coming in here and pushing any kind of agenda on Canada. Well, Canada's a corporation. Does he not know that? Does he not know the agendas have been pushed on this place since it was founded? Does he not know he's been lied to since the day he was born? Because the way this is reading here, he certainly doesn't seem to know it. In an emailed statement sent to CBC on Saturday, Agnott said the marches are a neighborhood watch-based activity. That's a spooky sentence, with focus on the safety of women, children, and the elderly. He added that the majority of the members spend their time checking for hazards and unsafe conditions in parks and playgrounds, and also identifying obstacles to people with mobility issues. Oh, wait a minute. Let me buzz up to the top of this thing. Soldiers of Odin, dubbed Extreme Anti-Refugee Group, patrol Edmonton streets. So they're an extreme anti-refugee group who are not racist, they're not anti-immigration, and what they want to do is patrol parks for safety hazards. What kind of a jackass story is this? This is really screwed up. Agnott said the group is here for all Canadian citizens and recognizes Canada as a multicultural mosaic. I thought they were anti-immigration. An earlier version of the original Soldiers of Odin, now defunct, website reads, Islamic intruders cause insecurity and increased crimes. Reuters report members in Finland have carried placards that read, migrants not welcome. The Finnish Soldiers of Odin have nearly identical bylaws as the Canadian chapters. Social media, the ADL, a civil rights organization, has said that the U.S. groups, much like the Canadian chapter, claim to be staunchly non-racist, but the official stance of the group and the benefits of the group's membership and supporters are two very different things. The group's main Facebook pages in Canada express strong anti-Islamic statements. In early August, the page posted a long diatribe about how there is a fundamental contradiction between being a devout Muslim and respecting the countries of the world. Muslims advance a definition that Islam is a shining beacon against the darkness of repression, segregation, intolerance, and racism. It reads, nothing could be further from the truth. When it comes to racism, actions speak louder than words, said Ifan Chandri, a criminology instructor and hate crime researcher at MacEwan University. Is obviously veiled, but is very transparent in the terms of what they're actually trying to do. It does definitely have anti-immigration, anti-Muslim, anti-colored folk sentiment that does fuel a lot of rhetoric. Chandri said. And this guy looks like a Muslim on the Edmonton News Channel, the radio station. He most definitely looks like Muslim. And he's saying that these guys are anti-this, that, and the other thing. It's troubling to hear about anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim groups engaging in so-called street patrols. The National Council for Canadian Muslims excuse me. God, I'm coughing like Hillary Clinton, for crying out loud. I got Chris in here. I'm going to bring him into the show. And then we're going to continue with this stuff down through here. You there, Christopher?
I am, my friend.
Yeah, you sent me this thing.
I did.
Yes, you did. But I got to look into this a little bit deeper. This looks like it's probably Jew created.
I sent you that without suggesting this was good or bad.
I know you.
I sent it to you suggesting we look into it.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole
And
point.
obviously, you've done that in like 10 minutes, and you found faults already.
I haven't.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Is there anything you don't find faults in?
Well, I have a lot of fault in you.
Yeah. Ow. Yeah.
You threaten me with physical harm if I do, so
correct.
I may phone these boys from Odin and see if they'll protect me. No, this really smells bad. I mean, I got to look this up, but I mean, there's so many key words in here that ought not to be here, and this thing bounces back and forth so much. This is looking like one of these Idle No More things or Occupy things.
Well, they look pretty tough. They look like bikers.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody's getting in on the game, right?
Yeah. Back in the day, and I don't want to harp on it too much here, but I've been a little bit here, if you will allow me.
I'm good for
back
that.
Back in the day, there was real bikers, and there were some 1%ers, and the 1%ers meant a lot of things. They were solid. They understood what was going on, and they weren't backing down. And that's why they got gang squads and the OPP. Well, here in Canada, the OPP, the RCMP, the local police got involved to shut them down. Because
yes, but here in this, the police haven't had any problems. They haven't had any complaints.
Exactly.
Something tells me that this is tied so tight together.
Well, we're just going to have to get one of their members on your show and find out what's up.
I would love that.
Yeah,
because
I think it's important because they're going to be going into the States. Obviously, I mean, this is spreading out. I mean, it started from Finland, and it on the surface, it's beautiful. You got a bunch of white boys that are saying, you know what?
Yeah,
we're not harming anybody. We're just going to walk around and make sure that you're okay. Now, that's on the surface, of course. Yes. Now, where do you go from there? And you already have in 10 minutes, and 10 minutes of looking at it, wait until I give you 2 hours of research.
Well, I'm going to.
You'll probably have this thing nailed to the wall.
Well, it's important that we research these things, because what happens too often, and it happens way too often on online radio. People will grab a story like this and run with it, and they'll end up promoting it as something positive without digging into where the hell it came from, who's involved in it, what the process of it is, and so on and so forth.
Find out it's Rockefeller funded.
Well, exactly, absolutely, exactly. I mean, there's an extreme anti-refugee group, and but we're non-racist. We're not white supremacists, even though the founder was a white supremacist, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. So yeah, I mean, this story is really messed up. And I think it's trying to get, I could be wrong, but I got a funny feeling these people are being brought in here in order to get the public to further embrace the Islamic migrants. That's what
the brown shirts. The brown shirts are coming in, and yeah.
And who are these people to tell us to come here and tell us who we can't and can't embrace in our country? You've got the churches, embracing the Islamic migrants, which is ass backwards. And I don't know. I think these guys may be just in here as a way to ramp up the idea that we should, get rid of these guys because, they have nothing to do with anything and they're just causing problems. And we need to embrace our migrants. That's what I think it is going on here. And again, I could be completely wrong, but it don't look like it. From
what I'm thinking is I'm going to work really hard on getting one of their representatives on your show.
I would love that.
And we will have a chat. Well, you will have a chat.
No, you'll have a chat.
No, I don't. I got much to contribute there on that one. You're doing a pretty good job all on your own, my friend. But that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to see if these guys are for real. They'll go on your show. They'll know who you are, and they'll have a representative on your show, and they'll be prepared for the questions you might have.
But
and then we'll go.
Honest to God, Chris, when I first rolled in here, and it was only like a few minutes before noon, and I went through some Skypes real quick, and I spotted this link you sent me, and I got a big smile on my face, right? And I went, "Hot!"
Yeah, finally, somebody defending our country.
And I'm going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This probably isn't what it's put out to be.
I have I didn't send you anything other than the link and a little suggestion that this might be of interest or whatever I sent. But because I was exactly the same way. At first you want to jump up and go, yeah, finally.
Yeah, we got some
white Europeans. And you go, wait a minute. Yep. So, but and they look like bikers. They got the patch and
and you can dress
the Canadian beard and
you can dress
all
everybody up to look like anything. They could be cops.
Like a pig with lipstick. Yeah.
Right. We've had so many provocateurs from the police forces over the past.
Well, that's what I want to find out, Ron. That's what I want. I want to nip this in the bud.
Yeah, well, no.
If these guys are provocateurs, well, I guarantee you, I know you very well. You will call them out real quick, and they'll either do the show, or if they deny, well, then that'll tell you something right there.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we're busy right now. We can't talk on the phone. Then you'll say, okay. You want to tell people that you're here to help, but you won't go on a station with a guy that just wants to ask you some questions and vet what you're doing. Yeah, then we'll know either way. But time will tell.
Yeah.
How many people have I had to go on your show until they knew who you were? Once they knew who you were, they declined the interview.
I know that's.
I can count 10 right now.
That sucks.
Yeah, oh shit, that guy! I'm not going on that show.
Well, I got to call them as I see them, and if they can, you know how I run. I run with the thing. I do my research, and
no, you don't talk
I'm
bullshit.
wrong, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to thank whoever pointed it out. I'll thank them for it. I won't fight with them. But over the years, I've invited many online radio people and other people who ain't coming near me with a 10-foot pole. They want nothing to do with it because they know I'm going to call them out. And that saddens me because there's so much of that on the internet. It's craziness.
Well, I know you do it. Sometimes you do it too politely. That's why you run the show. Because if I was running the show, I would probably lose it, and it wouldn't be good. But you can do it respectfully, which is why you do what you do.
My favorite. I think my favorite out interview all time was Kevin Annett. I enjoyed the shit out of that because we just had a really straightforward, easygoing conversation, no fighting, no bitching, no complaining, no calling each other anything. And
discussion, yeah.
I told some of the listeners who were big Annett fans that I'm not going to call him out. He's going to call himself out, but you need to listen. He will tell you, right? We get this interview right. He will tell you who he is, and he won't even know he's doing it, but you'll get it. And people got a hold of me after and go, son of a bitch, right? So I don't like this, in your face crap. I find it's more fun to do it the other way. You get a better interview too. Right.
Yeah. Well, but you've got a way of, you respect people even though you know they might be on the other side. You've got a way of speaking with them and then keeping them in the loop, so to speak, and letting them destroy themselves politely.
Yeah, it's more fun. I mean, when we were young, when we got into something. It was all about submission holds, right? I never much cared for punching somebody in the head, but if you're going to come at, then the idea is to get you to submit. And we're very good at that on the physical side. And every time I got in a fist fight, what I learned about a fist fight, you can't win a fist fight. Right? Because you're still going to get hurt, right? I mean, you've done it, I'm sure. Wake up in the morning with your fist in a bucket of ice, trying to get the swelling down.
Well, I hate to brag, but once or twice, yeah.
Yeah, several times. Still got one knuckle stuck way back too far. And I ain't a violent guy, right? I don't go looking for trouble. But what the hell?
What you're saying is, what you're saying is like Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Well, I used to have, if you get a half Nelson with a neck twist on it, that could pretty much subdue somebody. Do you give? Yeah. Well, that's to me that I that's. But I had this move when I was young that. I got fairly long legs. I wrap my leg around your leg, right? Wrap around your leg, get in behind your ankle, and
like an anaconda.
All I have to do is straighten my leg, right? And your knee's going to pop, right? And that's I never had anybody ever not say I give up on that shit. And nobody got punched. Nobody's bleeding, right? And that's basically, I'd like to do this to every lawyer on the planet. Say uncle, you son of a bitch, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking that myself. I was getting the lawyers and then just start putting them in anacondas.
Yeah. And
don't submit, I'm going to eat you. Oh.
See, the U.S. Anti-Defamation League, that's the Jews, right? The ADL, that's the Jews, right?
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Publisher this year saying the white supremacy ties of many soldiers of Odin members in America leave no room for doubt. Okay, these are white supremacists. Now, what exactly a white supremacist is, I've never understood. We're a white nation, and as such, we should be a proud nation. A proud nation does not water its core values, and it doesn't water down its people, and it doesn't ask its people to submit to somebody else's culture. So you can look at white supremacy as a good thing. It's like saying Chinese supremacy
for the land we live on.
Well, yeah,
This is what we've cultivated and what we built.
Yeah, it's like saying.
So this is ours. And now you go to Africa, they do the same thing there. They're not doing such a good job, by the way, when they start killing the South African white guys that have tried to help them get a leg up. But that's their business. I don't give a crap.
You wander into my place. If I don't want you here, go away.
Exactly.
It's no different than somebody that I don't want in my house wanders in my house and says, "Hi, how you doing? You want a coffee? Sure. And now that I'm here, I want to change the way you live and your beliefs and everything else." Well,
and cook me supper.
There's the front door. Take a hike. So what this migration thing is about is them coming to your home and telling you that you're going to live differently now and follow different rules and you're going to bow down to their cultures. Why would we put up with that? That's not white supremacy. That's sanity, right? The yellow people in China and Japan and that, you don't hear about yellow supremacy, right? You don't hear about black supremacy. You only hear about white supremacy.
I don't see a lot of Syrians going to Israel.
A lot of what?
Syrians going to Israel.
I think it's none.
Yeah.
And they're not welcome in China, not welcome in Japan, because those countries care. They have their culture.
They want to keep their culture, their race, their people.
Yeah.
Now it can be said, because you like to play with words. Can be said that if you break down the word culture, cult.
Yeah.
Culture is a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's been given a negative connotation, right?
Well, only as far as our culture is concerned. Everyone else's culture is great. That's why they keep jamming multiculturalism in here, and they've basically extinguished anything that we would even consider to be culture. And so what they've done basically is they've convinced people that we live in a cultural void, and therefore we should embrace other cultures, which will make our culture a better culture. It's all their psychology that they dump on people. And people.
So the bottom line is it's dilution. It's because now I'll be the first one you can call a racist on this, but you've got a race of people that have built something and are very good at it and built it up to such a point that we actually started to become successful. And there's people out there that have been running the show for so long, realize that they got competition. And so in order to get rid of that competition, you've got to dilute that race. And that's why we have Black Lives Matter. That's why we have hate crimes laws. And anything that is anti-white is not racist, but anything a white man says is racist, because they want to dilute our race because we're in direct competition with them. But they do have more money.
Well, I just see the guys out there trying to play God or find that the white people being more of a problem.
They're not playing God.
Control.
They're trying to be God.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've put themselves up as gods, and the rest of us below them, and somehow they con people into believing this nonsense. And now we're seeing what the real agenda is. So I don't know. I'm pretty. This is really interesting, though, Chris. I mean, I'm glad you found this and sent it. It's very, very interesting.
No, I'm gonna push this one. I'm gonna push it until I get somebody on your show. And if they don't, like I say, if they don't get on your show, then we know.
This is so silly, eh?
Because they're gonna vet you. I guarantee it. They're gonna say, "Who the hell is this guy?" And once they look at your, who you are, they're gonna go, "I don't know if I want to do this interview," or they're gonna say, "Yes, let's do this interview." And if that's the case, well, that's a good thing. And if they refuse, well, then. Yeah,
well, there's something going on here because I mean, here's the headline from Hamilton: controversial soldiers of Odin Group organizing in Hamilton. One resident says they're not welcome and they drum up racism. But on the other hand, the group, now you have a group wearing Norse helmets and patches and look like bikers or cops. And look pretty tough, but the group itself says we're just misunderstood. Now, does that sound like a statement from somebody wearing a Norse helmet with horns on it and colors that they would say, no, we're just misunderstood?
So the only thing they're missing is the Harleys.
What are these? These guys are floppy-wristed helmet wearing? So what? What is that? Right? Well, that's the picture I get.
Yeah, limp wrist and pink lipstick and. Yeah.
Like, here's a picture of a guy, a member of those. They can't even spell this right. I mean, the news loaders of, instead of soldiers, it says loaders of.
Well, that's just a typo. I do that all the time.
It's twice here, once in brackets and once. You wouldn't think they'd get it wrong.
But then again, they're supposed to be professional writers, but
it has them marching down the street in Hamilton here, and one guy's wearing a clown face with a big red nose.
That's Krusty. I voted for him.
With a swastika on his jacket, and a rainbow-colored flag scarf around his neck. Maybe they are leftists.
That part's not good.
Wrong with this. Well, here, let me send you this picture and see what you think of it.
I'm not near my computer, but I'll look at it later. Sure.
Oh, you don't have it? Well, I'll stick it in your chat, and then I'm going to stick it in also the. I'll stick this picture in the chat so that maybe people can go and take a quick boo and see who they think these people are. But
how can you be a tough Nordic type guy protecting the society we've created on our own here, and wear a rainbow colored scarf and a clown suit? I don't understand that too, but maybe there's cause for concern.
Well, I mean, if you look at the whole Nordic, all the Nordic countries over there,
They all wear rainbow-colored scarves.
well, a lot of the stuff that went into a lot of the players in Denmark was basically where they ramped up the windmills at, and Norway is where Gro Brundtland came from for Our Common Future. And, Sweden is where the Jews said that they were the ones responsible for this multiculturalism stuff. And these are all the countries that were basically put into the socialism, of which our reporters and that tend to reference. Saying, look we got poor people on the streets here in Toronto or Vancouver or wherever, or in the States. And, over here in Sweden or Norway or whatever, they have, basically nobody living on the street, and everybody has basically a good income and good services. So, there's been an awful lot of propaganda coming out of those nations. And they're all tiny little countries. I don't know how many people live in Sweden.
13 million in Sweden or something.
Denmark's only got 5 million people. I would imagine Norway would be somewhere in that same vicinity. So these are all small little countries. And so there seems to be an awful lot of stuff come out of these little countries. And I would question... how on the up and up this is, but it'll be fun. Well, either way, if it's if it is on the up and up, it's pretty interesting. And,
yeah, exactly.
And if it's not, on the up and up,
they won't be on your show. I guarantee it, because they know you.
I'll
talk on their behalf. I'll get their comments, and I'll get on air with you, and I'll let you know what they said.
They're actually called the Lodiers of Odin. So it's spelled the very same as soldiers, except with an L instead of an S. That's what it says, Wikipedia. Activist group. The Lodiers of Odin are a Finnish activist group who dress as clowns. I see. There was okay. That must. Okay. That picture that I put in there, that is not a soldier of Odin. That's the Lodiers of Odin, the guy with the clown face on. They are an activist group who dress as clowns, parodying the anti-immigration soldiers of Odin.
Okay. Okay. All right. So there's take one strike away.
Okay.
Call it ball one.
Okay, let's see. It says here the Soldiers of Odin is an international anti-Muslim street group founded in Finland in October 2015. The group was established as a response to thousands of asylum seekers arriving in Finland amid the European migrant crisis. Has indicated a desire to improve people's sense of security, if necessary, by intervening in threatening situations and by reporting incidents to the police. Their stated purpose is to protect people, especially women, from criminal immigrants, but also to help everyone regardless of their ethnic background. Have denied claims being a racist, neo-Nazi group in interviews and on their public Facebook page. However, the group's founder has connections to the far-right Finnish resistance movement and a criminal conviction stemming from a racially motivated assault. According to Finnish public broadcaster, an alleged restricted Facebook page for selected members suggests that racism and Nazi sympathies are rampant among its higher-ranked members. The group's nature has raised concerns of anti-immigrant. Let's see. Okay, but this may have been started by Prince Philip. They're all German. I'm just kidding on that. I mean, they're all German. So we're
go to. Like on the surface, this appears to be a good thing. I mean, it's us standing up and saying enough's enough. You know, we're not threatening, but we're standing in the city square, and this is our country, and we're just letting you know, don't mess with us. And, you know, so on the surface, I mean, wow, I mean, the knights in shining armor here, you know. I get my boys involved. I got a couple tough boys. I get them involved in it, but then again, yeah, what is the bottom line? Is it for real?
Well, I'm surprised by the response of the police, because the police are always looking for radicals and troublemakers and so on.
Yeah, guys like you and I. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in the paper all the time, right? They're looking for terrorist organizations or this or that, of which you would think the police, who have just got a new hijab for the Muslim women to join the RCMP, would consider a group like this to be a threat. And but the police are coming out and saying, no, they haven't had any problems whatsoever with these people.
Good guys, yeah. Pat them on the back and thank them for their service.
Mm-hmm. So something.
Yeah, I know. I get it. But like I say, I didn't research anything. I saw it. I gave it to you, and I said it's something we need to look into. And you did it. I mean, you did a whole bunch of research in 10 freaking minutes, it would take me like 3 hours. You're good at that stuff.
I'm just looking at the wording of the story, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Here we got a problem right here. It's registered as an NGO. That doesn't sound good. Okay. It says here, Soldiers of Odin registers as a non-government organization, warns Lolio, the clowns. So I don't know if it's going to take a little bit of looking. There's a lot of links here. The fact that they are international.
Well, why would you register? Like, what I thought it was just like a grassroots, you know, coming from Finland, spreading out because everybody's getting sick of the immigration issues in everybody's country. And then, you know, you form a chapter. I didn't know you had to register it. That's like, you know, it's like
well, no, you would not.
I want to register.
You would not expect a group like this. As of last Thursday, the security-conscious anti-immigrant group Soldiers of Odin is now a officially registered Finnish NGO, which is the same as the Suzuki Foundation, which is the same as Black Lives Matter, which is the same as Idle No More. These are all connected to the United Nations.
Well, I mean, that might be a positive thing. I mean, if, you know, like, they're in with Suzuki, then maybe he could give us some money and we'll get some more members.
I mean, what the United Nations really, and the Rockefellers and that encourage is the creation of lots and lots of NGOs. Now, these are the outfits that places like the Carnegie and Rockefeller and the United Nations itself funds, right? So
now I'm going to become a member, and then we get money.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to work. We'll just stand out there with shirts on, with Nordic helmets and Canadian beards. And hey, pays the bills.
You know, okay. Helsinki Mall welcomes Muslim consumers. Finland's Brits in shock over Brex result. I mean, this is so twisted. Well,
that's the bottom line here, Ron. Is we got to get one of these guys on your show, and then you can vet them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
I don't
That's
know where
that's the bottom line. That's what I'm going to work for, and then we're going to vet them, and well, you are, and we'll find out real quick because you're good at that kind of stuff. And so I think that's all we can do with that at this point. I mean, we're scratching our heads, two different ways.
Yeah, I'm really happy you found it though, because this is really interesting shit. Like this is, I don't know why I hadn't heard of it before, I guess, but this is what's this called? Mail Online, which is Britain, I guess. We have an exclusive here. Nazi daggers, SS hats, and a hangman's noose. One night patrol with the soldiers of Odin, neo-Nazi-led vigilantes vowing to keep Europe's women safe from migrant sex attacks. Now, in Ontario here and in Edmonton, the police have no problems. Over here, it's written up as notorious Finland-based group Soldiers of Odin is at the forefront of a fierce vigilante movement sweeping Europe. Mail Online gained exclusive access to the anti-migrant group's patrols and its secretive Nazi-themed headquarters. Vigilantes claim the police can't control migrants by themselves following the spat of sex attacks that rocked Europe. So yeah, I'm up for this. This is going to be really interesting.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be listening in that day.
See, this guy.
I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it real hard.
This
to
guy
get somebody on.
Well, I got a guy here that's tattooed to rat shit, and I could be wrong, but he looks as gay as hell.
Don't make me laugh.
Well, I'll send you the picture. You tell me.
Yeah, don't do that.
He's got gay hair and a gay face, and lots of tattoos, and he's got nipple piercings. This guy's wearing earrings.
One or two. Is it like a George Michael or?
Yeah, I only see the one on the right side of his head.
That's the manly side, I think, isn't it? I forget.
I don't know. I mean, where I come from, men don't wear earrings. I'm sorry, I don't give a shit if it's right or left. I don't want to have to think. Oh Jesus, which side is that on? Is that a limp or a stiff-wristed guy? Right? I mean,
should I put that nose ring in on the left side of my nose or the right side of my nose, and it so you can pull it?
They are right here. Here's a statement. Politicians are allowing migrants to rape our women, and they're doing nothing about it. There will be war on the streets, and we are ready to fight. Now that I can deal with, right?
It's causing people to get a heightened sense of let's fight. And I feel that is just a pressure tactic myself personally, but of course, I mean, if immigrants are raping your women, well, what do you want to do? You want to go punch your lights out, or worse.
If anybody's raping your women,
well, yeah, I know, but I mean, the way they're putting it, that's what they're getting you to a higher level of wanting to Johnny grab your gun kind of.
Yeah, but then that all falls into the globalist happiness syndrome or whatever of causing more stress, more chaos, more fear, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's to find out we know where the Muslims are coming from, and we know why they're coming. These guys are.
Yeah, we know, but the
average
general population.
No, they watch TV.
Doesn't have a
they're
freaking clue.
I saw a little
Anyway.
video yesterday of Chappelle on Oprah Winfrey's show. Apparently, the first interview he gave after he came back from Africa. Now, I can see why this woman is so well paid. I watched this clip and I thought, wow, this bitch is the queen of manipulation. I was
good at
watching
it.
her take. Well, I was watching her take Chappelle to places he didn't really know he was going to. I mean, this broad's a pro, man, and that's why she's on TV. And I know Chappelle's a pretty sharp guy, and he would look at Oprah now, like, what the hell are you saying now, right? Very good at twisting things around. And so Chappelle's pretty sharp. The audience that watches Oprah is not sharp, and it's the manipulative powers they're extraordinary. And so they have this capacity. That's why they're on TV, folks. That's why they get paid bucks, big bucks, right? Because they have huge fan bases that watch these talk shows and that. And it's all about manipulation, and the audience has no clue they're being manipulated, and that's why that garbage goes on. So,
Well, it's funny you say that, Ron. Like, I think I've mentioned this in the past in one of your shows, but when I was a kid, I was always trying to search for the truth. I always knew something was wrong, and I couldn't figure it out. And the only thing I watched on television was Phil Donahue, because that was the closest thing I could find. I couldn't go to the library and find stuff because I didn't know what I was looking for. I was a kid. But, man, he'd come on and he would break it down, and he would get people... he's kind of like you, but not in a real truthful sense. He would manipulate your belief that he was getting to the bottom of it. And I loved him. It was up until about 5 years ago. I still loved that guy, and then I realized, okay, he's a player.
yeah, and
it's all I had in the 70s. Like, that's all I had was Phil Donahue. Other than that, you got to watch Days of Our Life or,
well, the beauty of it is, though, once you have, I loved the nature of things. Because I love
that one too. Oh, wasn't that beautiful?
I love the bush. I love the rivers and the lakes. That's where life is, man. And so when I was a kid, I would watch David Suzuki and the nature of things.
Yeah.
And he would go places I couldn't get to and stuff.
He's a friggin' bug scientist.
See, but then when he started on with the naked ape shit, right? And I go, wait a minute here. What exactly is this show about? This show is not about nature. This show is about man is the problem.
Yeah.
And once you have been caught, just like you were with Donahue, once you go through this a couple of times, all of a sudden it gets very, very easy to get to the real message of what somebody's actually saying. Not what it's being perceived they're saying, but what they're actually up to. It gets real quick after that. Once you've been stung a couple of times and sucked in a few times and realize that you got sucked in, then from there on in, it's very easy to either find out if these guys are on the up and up or they're not. And basically, the first thing, if they're on television, the odds on them being up and up is about less than 1%, or they wouldn't be on TV. And it's easier.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. I mean, if we're trying to to make new listeners understand, you have your gurus, and Phil Donahue was one of mine. You couldn't say anything bad about that man, or we'd get in a fist fight, or I'd leg lock you. You know, because Phil was the man. And boy, I'll tell you, it took a long time for me to wake up and go, oh, wait a minute. And that's a process I'm afraid is going to have to happen with kids growing up now. I mean, they got their certain gurus that they love and they believe in. And you know, to say, well, let's ask some questions. Don't even go there. You know, I'll fist fight you, man. You don't want to, you know, that's insulting. He was one of my gods growing up.
Yeah.
You know, so for anybody to say anything bad about him, I'd tear him a new one. But then I went, oops, maybe they're right. And unfortunately, I feel it's the same thing is happening. I mean, I guess, you know, history repeats itself. But I wish there was a quicker way to make people pay attention to, like you say, if they're on TV, okay, there's a first indication that there's a lie going on here. And many times, even on the internet, there was so many people I was impressed with on the internet, and to come realize, wait a minute, you hear something that just knocks you back in your chair, and go, okay, that one word, that one sentence, I now know that you're not who you're professing to be.
Well, you know, it's the same as you know. I understood. I mean, I perfectly understand the history of the Native Americans and how they got screwed around and how they had their culture destroyed. How their children were taken and put in schools and taught shit that had nothing to do with those people, and we got the same thing going on with the children in the schools today. You know, so it's history repeating itself basically. You know, when I read that report that 100 people now have been suicided in this country, and it's not played up as a sad thing or a bad thing. It's played up as a great
it's a good thing. Because out of their misery.
Yeah. So now what you're doing is you go, well, if they did it, then I guess I could do it. I'm getting older now, and you know, like it becomes the in thing to do. You know, hey, what are you doing next Saturday night? Jimmy's going to get suicided, man. Why don't we grab some beers and we'll go over and we'll have a party, and then he's checking out. Yeah, the doctor's going to put him down. Well, not the exact opposite of what a doctor's supposed to be doing. You know, so they normalize all this shit, right? So I'm kind of curious. I just stuck this picture in the chat, and
well, you do know while you're sticking the picture in chat that
it just seems odd to say
just so you feel good. Just so you feel good.
Why?
Doctors are only accepting 1 in 10 at this point for assisted suicide.
Oh, really?
So only one application in 10.
Well, that's
they're accepting at this point, like they're right now today.
That's still pretty high.
I think maybe in a year or two, you're probably going to see that climb up to, well, we're only accepting 5 in 10.
Oh yeah, I mean, the gates are wide open now, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm laughing, but I'm not really. This is so
you got to think
ridiculous.
Though, that this is the stuff that's being jammed. I mean, what are they doing to the kids, right? You know, they're teaching kids anal sex at some ridiculous young age, and I don't know how anal sex is it kind of turns me completely off. But
some guys like to do it with ghosts.
Garbage like this, and then at a very early age, because they're teaching the kids that they're the problem, and that's why the world's being stressed, and they'll be teaching them about assisted suicide at early, and prime them. These kids don't have a clue what life is about. None. It's all been taken away from them. You know.
And what are we as men doing about this?
There you go. I'm going to get me a whole bunch of tattoos. I'm going to get some iron rods shoved through my nipples and some earrings. And then I'm going to proclaim myself to be tough.
And
That just doesn't
Canadian beard.
Canadian what?
Canadian beard.
Beard. What's a Canadian beard?
You'll be Nordic. Well, that's their symbol. That's the Nordic guys. They got.
Yeah, well, they're wearing a Canadian flag as a beard or something.
Well, so you'll have a Canadian beard.
But then I'm a corporate muppet. That's why I don't understand their story. I mean, are these guys just plain stupid or what? You know. Let's see.
But anyways,
Guardian Angels here. They're still around. I met one. He was on the run because people tried to kill him. Yeah, I remember the Guardian Angels come up here from where? New York City, a bunch of years back.
Oh, that was back at friggin', they were doing that in the 90s, wasn't it? Or the early 90s?
Yeah, somewhere.
When they became popular? Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
That's kind of the same idea then, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is. But, this is... yeah, I never really looked into those guys too closely. Like, we're here to do neighborhood watch. Why? You know, what's wrong with the neighborhoods? Don't we pay some people already that are supposed to be doing this?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, so...
We need volunteers now?
Well, I would have
we don't pay enough already?
Yeah, I would have expected the police in that story to say, I don't know who these guys are, we'll check them out, but we're already paid to do the job they say they want to do for free. Right?
Yeah.
And, we don't want nobody getting in the way of our paychecks, so we're going to kick them out of town. It would have been the response I would have expected from the police. But, yeah, something's not right here, but I never did understand the Guardian Angels either. I don't know. Maybe they were paid for by the Rockefeller Foundation. For all I know, I have no idea.
Well, I heard. Now I don't know, and I can't prove this as fact. But I heard the founder of the Guardian Angels was a Jew. Now that was just a rumor that may or may not be true. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I really don't.
Neither do I.
I'm
just saying.
They're everywhere.
Fuck yeah.
Let me see.
He was on Phil Donahue's too. I remember that in '72. No, it wasn't. I'm just kidding. But he was on Donahue. I remember that. And they had all the... It was kind of like the Jerry Springer show. We had all the people in the audience, and, there was some considering them angels, and then some saying they're devils, and yeah, that was a lot of years ago.
Oh, there's the guy, Curtis Sluwa. I remember that guy. Born 54, born into a Catholic family of Polish-Italian descent in Carlisle, Brooklyn. He has two sisters. He was a night manager of McDonald's restaurant. Ooh, whoop whoop. But it said something about raising his children as he admitted that he had fabricated several of the Angels' exploits, including a false allegation that he had been kidnapped in 1980 by an off-duty transit officer. He also admitted to faking several kidnapping attempts on himself to make himself seem more valuable to the public, he said in later statements. The group owes its origins to the Monroe twins. Who the hell were they? Let's see.
Oh, it's probably a couple of girls that were raped and murdered or something, so they used that as an excuse to form their gang. Well, I'm just thinking out loud here, but yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a strange dude.
Oh no, there's a lot of strange things about him. And then they came back. I think they came back like they were really popular. It was, I believe, it was in the 90s or the 80s. I think it was the 80s. They were really popular, and then they fell down the wayside. And they came back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and White Knights, and they were affiliated with all kinds of different groups like that. And it was all nefarious. And that's another reason why I sent you what I sent you, is because I'm trying to vet these guys.
Yeah.
And I hope I can get one on your show. I hope I can. I want you to.
Well, it would be an interesting conversation, because I'm not so sure. Like, a lot of these guys, unless you're talking to the top-notch guy, what I found, I mean, when I looked into the Occupy movement, the only people who knew what was going on were the people that created it, the people that controlled it. Most of the people that were involved in it didn't have a clue about it. They didn't know where it came from. They didn't know nothing, right? We're against corporations. Well, what the hell is that supposed to mean? I mean, they had no clue what they were involved in. And I find that with an awful lot of groups, they just believe what they're told. And I'm trying to figure out who this Katz is. I can't find this. Apparently he had some kids. Some Katz woman. They're through in vitro. Those kids.
Well, I know the founding father, so to speak, of that group from the 80s. There was a female, very strong, powerful-looking woman. She was like the vice president, so to speak. And maybe that's who you're looking at, because I remember her too. And she was part and parcel to the whole White Knight, or what do you call it? What's their name again?
The Guardian Angels.
The Guardian Angels. Yeah. She was the female side of the Guardian Angels. So maybe that's what you're looking at. I don't know.
Well, he went to a Jesuit school.
Aha.
But apparently he didn't like being, by the look of this, he just didn't like being a night manager at McDonald's, and decided to create something for himself. I don't know.
You wanted to make more money. Well, where'd you get the money?
Possibly. I don't know.
I was a night manager at Harvey's.
You were not.
I was.
You get out of
3 years. I was really important.
You might.
Night manager.
Did you really
Harvey's.
work at Harvey's?
I did. I'm guilty.
How old were you?
You got to remember, though, I was like, from 17 to 20. I thought it was pretty important. And then I was also the manager of Burger King for a couple of years after that. Yeah. Anyways, that's personal stuff, but yeah, no, that's just funny. Like, there's a lot of money to be made in that.
Is
not.
This. No, I remember when people would say, in our family, we'd be having a family gathering or something, and people would get all excited, like, Jimmy or Jill is assistant manager at McDonald's or someplace, right? And I'm gagging, and the rest of it, oh, that's excellent. Yeah, and they said if they keep doing a really good job, they could work their way up to fry manager or something, right? And you're going, am I actually listening to this shit coming out of my family's mouth? You know, come on, people. You know, the guy living under the bridge, right, eating toads has got a better life going than the guy that thinks he's going places working at McDonald's. At least the guy under the bridge isn't fooling himself, right? You know, it's too weird, man. So I still haven't.
Well, it's funny, you know. I don't want to. I'm just saying this for the sake of what I feel is important. But when I was managing back when I was a kid at Harvey's. Oh, that's a promo for them too. So we should get paid money for that. But anyways, the owner was German at the time. Now the head manager, who is a really good friend of mine, to this day, he was going to buy it when the German owner was on his deathbed. And he offered him $300,000 at the time. And the German owner, even though he knew he was dying, and Rick's his name, he was a manager, the main manager at the time, did everything for him, like personally and work-wise. He bowed down and took another $25,000 from Pakistani. So now a Pakistani owns 3 Harveys in my hometown right now, and there's this white German, even on his deathbed, wouldn't refuse the extra $25,000. Huh. He was still about the money, and that really pissed me off. I thought, you know what? And then now it's a Pakistani, and the store's loaded full of Pakistanis serving you. Well, I don't go there anymore. I refuse to. But anybody that does go there, that's what the store is filled full of. And I thought, incredible.
Yeah, and see, I'm not a racist, right?
No, I'm not, but I'm a nationalist.
But when I walk into a store in my country, I expect to see somebody that reminds me of somebody that came from my country. Now, that ain't racist. You know, if I go to Pakistan, every corner store I go into is not going to be manned by white people, nor when I call a cab is some white guy going to come pick me up, take me to the airport. Okay? And this is what's happened here. We are basically turned our place into a foreign land, or allowed it to be turned into a foreign land.
Well, you know what gets worse? You know, you always wonder, and everybody knows this. I'm sure this is the same in the States, because I guarantee you it's here in Canada. But every grocery store you go to, every friggin' gas station you go to, it's either an Indian or a Paki. Okay, and I'm just saying that in simple terms. I'm not saying it to be racist, but well, maybe you can call it that. I don't give a crap.
No, it's not racist.
But what I've come to find out is, like, how do they get to own all this stuff? They get it through government grants.
Absolutely.
Do many people understand this? No. I thought, like, why doesn't a white guy own one of these stores?
Well, they're not. They don't qualify. I've been through this with the government. Even when I was trying to hire some workers at one point, I can get a grant if I hired this particular group of people, but I can't get the same grant for somebody that actually wants the job. They don't qualify. I was really pissed about that, and that's what they do. I mean, it's the same thing we said before, is that, you know, when you go to retire, you're self-employed, it's your little business, and most little businesses, when they're going to pack it up. They just pack it up, sell the assets, whatever there are, and call it a day. But, they're actively looking for guys like you to bring people in from overseas to continue that business. Now, you say, really, you'll pay me, you'll come up with a market value for my business, and you will pay for someone to take it over. Yes. Well, great, because my son would love to take it over, but he's not in a financial position to do so. Well, I'm sorry, he wouldn't qualify. He lives there already. These are for immigrants only. And there's a huge thing going on. I got a call from the Philippines asking if I would be interested in having a market value assessment of my business because we have many people here who would love to live in Canada. And we could arrange a payment for the business, and these people would take over your business. And if you're asking how these people are all ending up in here owning businesses, that's exactly how. And your money, your tax dollars are being used. But if it's some guy in your neighborhood who maybe it's an apprentice you had or something who would love to take it over and isn't in a position, he can't get funding to do that. But if he was coming from somewhere in the Middle East or wherever, China, wherever, they will fund him. And, we have these, Dingleballs is over there in China now, and they're going to set up 7 more immigration offices to fill the jobs.
We're investing in their bank, too.
Yeah, to bring immigrants here to fill the jobs that aren't being filled in Canada. I saw a comment.
Yeah, because we're just a bunch of lazy, laid back, do nothing.
Yeah, I saw a comment to that drunken immigration minister. What's his name? McCollum. And, saying, wait a minute here. If you're bringing people in to fill these jobs, then why are the people here in Canada not being alerted to these job openings? And why are we not filling these so-called job openings, right? Very, very good question. But it's not about you having a job. It's about you not having a job. And it's about you not having a nation. It's even in my little town now. I'm seeing a few more Muslims wandering around. I'm seeing more Chinese running around.
My son hates going to the grocery store with me.
What's that?
My son hates going to the grocery store with me because every time I go to the grocery store, 80% of them are not my people. And they don't even speak my language.
Is it that?
And as I walk by them, I go, speak English. And he goes, Dad, shut up. Shut up, Dad. Dad, don't do that. Fuck you. I don't care. You're in my country. You speak my language.
Well, exactly. But it's that bad that you got that many immigrants in Kingston?
This is the one grocery store that, Tyler said he refuses, my son Tyler, refuses to take me to anymore because they got 80% of the clientele in that store are immigrants, newly arrived in Canada, from different persuasions, and they don't speak a lick of English other than money, card, money. Hello? which I was listening to Clint earlier.
Yeah, but there's nobody else.
Cool.
There's nobody out here. Are you the only guy in Kingston that notices any of this?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to wake people up to it, but even my kids, Tyler, he's the one that he drives me around because the government stole my vehicle and told me I'm not allowed to drive anymore. Again, but I try to explain to him why I get so pissed off, but he said, "I don't care, Dad." He said, "That's embarrassing." But get embarrassed.
We are such a nation, and I'm talking about not just Canada. I'm talking about America and Australia and Britain and all these other places. we are so easy pushovers. It's nuts.
No, not me.
Say nothing negative. Well, wait a minute. They're taking away our everything, and I'm not. What am I supposed to do? Hug them? Oh, thanks for coming and taking over my neighborhood. Thanks for never speaking the language here. Thanks for draining the coffers. I mean, these immigrants are only here.
A hijab or a turban or whatever.
Right. But the only reason these immigrants are here is that they've been brought here in order to dilute us. To dilute our culture, or whatever it may be. Right? And so, it is tough to get angry with these people because they were coerced into coming here. Right? You come to Canada, lovely, lovely country. You have all kinds of good stuff. Everybody give you everything. Everybody love. And
and they bring their culture with them.
Right, but this is what they're told before they get here, right? By your so-called officials, right? They're the ones that are responsible for this that's going on. It's the immigrants, otherwise wouldn't even be here. You can't come somewhere unless somebody opens the door to you, right? Like they're not beating the door down. I mean, they've got recruiters out all over the place gathering these people up to bring them here. Why are you bringing them here? Well, because
what's sad about that is a lot of these people that are doing that are our brothers, but they get a government paycheck, so they're not arguing it. Because otherwise they wouldn't have a paycheck. So what the hell? Hey, I'm feeding the kids. I got a nice home. I got a pool.
But that's why we have.
They want me to do that. I'll do it.
That's why.
Well, they're destroying their own children, and they don't.
Well, some of them.
I don't get that part.
Yeah, some of them are too stupid to know that. But that's why they increase the size of the government so much. Right?
Yeah.
So now that we have all these people,
I think in the
government
States
was smaller, people wouldn't put up with this crap. And now you've got so many people connected and working and getting a paycheck from the government that the opposing voices get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it's easier to label you as a radicalized or whatever, or a hate monger or a white supremacist or whatever. You become a problem, and you should just obey and bow down, and instead of looking at these foreigners crooked at the grocery store, you should really truly be offering to shine their shoes, because that's the Canadian way, right?
I know. Fucking Canadians are such fucking assholes.
What's that?
Oh wait, I'm one. Damn it.
Well,
Well, we're just so shut-mouthed about it. At least there's some guys in the States that got some balls.
Well, I worked down.
We got balls. Don't get me wrong. We got some tough boys up here, but the majority just goes along to get along. Well, that's what they say we need to do, so we'll just let them do it. No.
Well, you can always vote for a different government.
Just wait 4 years.
Yeah,
we'll get another one in.
Yeah, and
we'll see how things change.
Yeah, so I can't not give the guys that put us in the position we're in. I can't not give them credit because they're
good at it.
Well, they managed to. I guess when you own it, right? When you own the media prints or regurgitates what you want them to, and when you own the food industry, I guess they do what they're told. And when you own the school system, I guess the teachers teach what you tell them to teach. So, we're in a tough spot here. They managed to do all of these things, and at no point do we ever put our foot down and say, this is not going to happen. Now we're at a position where pretty much everything is 100% controlled. And you have all these minions with a job that gets a paycheck at the end of the week, and they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. And they're going to have to.
Or was it in the States, they their job numbers. I was looking at this earlier. Now I don't know the exact percentages, but they're suggesting that the like, I don't know, 280,000 new jobs were created, and then they broke it down, and like 68% was government jobs.
Yeah.
Well, so the other jobs are there to support the government jobs that are newly created in a bureaucracy that is so overbloated to begin with. I look at this stuff and I go, come on. Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're jobs.
Say, well, I know, but I mean, you could, the way they do this, we created 68% of the new jobs. Is that what it was? Is government jobs? Well, they don't produce anything, and the public's paying for them. So why don't you just hire everybody and have a zero unemployment rate, and see how that works out for you? Right? Well, I mean, if the government created these new jobs, then create more new jobs. I mean, it's ludicrous what people get sucked into. But we're getting near the end here, so I cannot mess this up. Okay? Sometimes I forget, and I'm not going to forget today.
Hal's on a 3.
Oh, you beat me to it. Okay, just in case you people didn't hear that, Hal behind the woodshed is on a 3. Don't listen to Chris. So I'm still trying to get a hold of my uncle. I went to my sister's for breakfast. They apparently were hung up, didn't get there, and so I hung around as long as I could, and then caught a ride back into town so I could do the show. And I was so wanting to see my uncle. Haven't seen him since his 90th birthday, and his wife. And I just love these people. They're people that have a mind, and they use it. And we're going to go out, I guess, for dinner around 5. So we'll get them that time. But I got to see these people today. And then apparently my aunt and uncle may be coming up from Sarnia, and this is my kind of people, really. I mean, he's 87 years old. He can't walk much anymore, but he's still running a company, a private thing for himself and his family. And my aunt just got out of the hospital, so I think my cousins are going to run them up here for my mom's 80th birthday. Which is the same day as mine, only I told Mom, she actually picked me up today because I'm in the same boat as you. They don't want me driving, apparently, but we will get that fixed. And so Mom picked me up. We're going to my sister's place, and she says, here's your card and everything. And I said, that's fine, but I really don't do birthdays. And then she says to me, this kills me because my mom goes to a church most Sundays. And I said, I really don't do birthdays and stuff. I don't see the point of it. And, oh, you must be a Jehovah's Witness then. I go, what? Where the hell did that come from? Right? And she goes, well, they don't celebrate birthdays. Well, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, but I'll have to look into that. Right? But, everything has been commercialized. They commercialize you shortly after you were born, and everything you do, all the celebrations that take place during the year, are not for your benefit or anybody else's benefit. It is about commercialization. They figured out how to make money off your birthday. People feel guilty if they don't buy you a present, and it's just commercial. It has nothing to do with anything but commercial. So I think that's...
Thanks, Ron.
Anyways, thanks, Chris. Take care, everybody, and we'll be back Tuesday night, 7, 8 o'clock, and
selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force them air. Fuck them back, it's only for they warm. They shoot, they kill, they master, correct. more links come. Trees lie to your face.